I want to share an old Chinese story with you. It's called A Sad Story About Zhongyong. Zhongyong was a child prodigy. As a son of a peasant, he never saw a book or learned a character before. But when he turned 5 years old, all of a sudden, he cried for a writing brush and wrote a poem. So he became a wonder and everybody loved him. His father showed him off around the neighborhood and never sent him to school. And of course, he ended up just like normal people when he turned 12 or 13, despite of his talents. That was a story my parents told me to keep me diligent, which turned out to be my living nightmare. I was a child prodigy for English when I was 12. I grew up in a small town in China at a time when most people treated English like real science, including my parents. I learned English at school, but most of the time I learned English by myself. When I turned 18, I spoke English so well that people might think I was born and raised in the United States. My English teacher told my parents I would become a star someday because of my extraordinary talents. And it took me painful years to realize I became Zhongyong after all. I tried really hard not to become him. I recited books, novels, movies, famous speeches. I did not want to become him, but I realized someday it's inevitable that I become him, because no matter how hard I learn, the best I could ever become is you, a native speaker. So the ultimate level for me is the easiest reach for you. And I realized that when I came to Germany, when I was 20. Everybody spoke English, some even better than me. So I felt defeated and I started a new challenge. I learned German. After a year, I spoke so good German that people might think I was born and raised in Germany. But of course, I had to face the fact again. No matter how hard I learn, the best I could ever become is just as good as the Germans are. What's even worse, I live here, so I'm literally living in my nightmare. I became Zhongyong. Although I learned hard, I never stopped learning and I was diligent. I did become normal. What used to make me extraordinary makes me ordinary today. And it's very painful to go through that. So far, this is a sad story. But for me, it turned out to be a good story. Since I came to Germany, I've traveled through 25 countries. I gained a world that is 1,000,000 times bigger than it used to be. Because I extended my horizon, I learned, I grew. And for that, I gave up something that made me feel very special and smart. For a long time, I thought, this was still a fair trade after all. Until 1 year ago, I came across a theory developed by Professor Carol Dweck from Stanford University called Fixed and Growth Mindset. This turned my world upside down. To put the entire theory into one sentence, a fixed mindset believes in fixed talents. So a fixed mindset wants to prove their talents and look smart, whereas a growth mindset believes in achievable abilities. So a growth mindset enjoys the progress of growth. The entire time I learned so hard was to prove I was talented. Whereas I could have enjoyed the progress I made, I did not because I had a fixed mindset. So actually, I did not have to trade my happiness for my growth. I could have simply gained happiness through my growth. Imagine I had not learned so hard just to look smart, to feel talented. Imagine I had simply learned and enjoyed every progress I made. I would have never felt defeated about not being as good as the native speakers. I could have simply enjoyed every time, like right now, that I can tell you precisely how I feel, what I think, in your language. How great is that? And this is exactly why I started this. I want you to experience learning as a growth, not a defeat. I want you to experience growth as a happiness, not pain.